Do you ever wish that you could talk to your younger self and give her some advice that she could really use that would make her life far happier if she just took it on board? Well, I do. So that's why I'm making this video. I'm making it for my daughter, my granddaughter, my great-granddaughter, for anyone who comes along that could be benefited by this discussion, or maybe those of you who get it and who have some advice that you can share, or just are so glad to have someone say this out loud. We're going to talk about our bodies and body image, because I have suffered far too much about that in my life. So it started when I was a kid, just like it starts for so many. You know, there are always a couple kids that are picked on when they grow up, and I was one of those kids. And I was told I was fat, I was ugly, I was given a bad time about my teeth because they're not white. It's a genetic thing, by the way. I was teased about the length of my hands, you name it. I was teased about it. And I remember the first time I was told I was fat. I was 4 years old. I was standing at the corner on some gravel, and a little boy came by on his bike, stopped the bike, looked at me and said, "You're fat. You're ugly." I didn't even know what it meant to be fat, but I could tell it wasn't good. So I walked up toward my house feeling kind of sad, and this distant cousin of mine just happened to be coming along, and he was a big kid. He was a real tease. And he said to me, "You know you're fat. Did you know you're ugly?" I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bad. I went in the house and felt really sad about this, whatever it meant. And that's really when it started. And I was teased about it all the way through school. And I look back, and I wasn't fat. I had, a time or two, like when, my hormones were starting to come on when I was in 4th grade, and I developed sooner than the other girls, that I was a little chubby, but I never was fat. It doesn't matter whether I was or not, really. It was the fact that they made me feel so bad about it, and that I believed it. I look back now and I can see the 16-year-old girl that weighed 114, who wore a size 5, which was very small at the time, who believed that she was fat. And I became obsessed about it. When I was 12, I tried going on this grapefruit diet because I'd had another distant cousin tell me that grapefruit will burn your fat. So if you eat a lot of grapefruit, you're going to lose weight. And then when I was 14, I think, I saved up some money and I went up to the drugstore and I got this little box of chocolates that were supposed to suppress your appetite, and they were awful, and it didn't seem to work to me. And my mom came along and said, "What are you doing with that?" And I said, "I'm fat, I need to lose weight." And she said, "No, you're not, and these are bad for you." So I took them away, and then I tried putting myself on some of these diets that you see in magazines, and I found out for me that going on a diet just tends to make me obsessed about food, and I end up eating more. So that didn't work out. I just, all the time, whether I was knowingly thinking about it or not, there was just like this slow burn of I'm fat. And it got to the point where I was constantly ranking myself. Like, say I was at the mall, my mind would be looking at different women and ranking where I fit in. She's heavier, she's thinner. How I felt had to do with where I felt on that scale. If she was heavier than me, then I was okay. If she was thinner than me, then I wasn't okay. And it took me so long to figure that out. And Roseanne, 30-year-old Roseanne, if you're listening to that, you're doing that, stop it. It's really not a good thing for you to be doing that. I would recommend that you get some therapy. And boy, I wish you'd get that now instead of when you're 45 and you get so depressed that you, it's a bad deal when you're 45, how depressed you get. So if I could talk to myself, I would say, you need to take care of how you are dealing with and feeling about what happened to you as a kid. Let's find you a good therapist to get over that. And I would say to anybody who comes along and watch this, if you are really dealing with this kind of thing and you find that you're always ranking yourself and comparing yourself to the women you see, people on social media, and you keep judging yourself the loser, maybe a therapist can help you get past that, because it's really a thought habit. And we can change how we think. And there's a method of therapy called CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, that will help you to change your thoughts. Like when you realize you're thinking this, then you change it to this, then it helps that go away. Because when I woke up and I realized I was ranking myself, that went a long way to help me get over that and improve my self-esteem that was associated with my body image. Another thing that really helped me was when I started to really appreciate what the miracle my body was to begin with. Like, I believe that before we came to this earth, we were spirit children of our Heavenly Father, and He had a plan for us. One of the parts of the plan was that we would come to earth and get our bodies, because we need our bodies to learn certain things. Like, we can't experience pleasure and pain and hunger and fatigue and tired and enjoying food and feeling loving and loving others. And, well, you probably loved either way, but to actively do love and compassion and just all the ups and downs of life, those are emotions that are part of our body. And so we needed to feel those. And then we also needed to be able to learn to choose right, free agency and all of that, and to have faith. And those all required a body. And the fact that we're here at all, that we made it through the genetic minefield and everything to get our body, and in today's world, that our mothers chose to have us. It's just like a complete miracle that we're here. And the reason we look the way we do is partially, I think, Heavenly Father's behind that, maybe, but our genes. It's like, I look like my grandma's. My hair color, my eye color come from this part of my face comes from my one grandma. My hands, my complexion, my height, my body shape came from my other grandmother. And would I trade them away? No. Do I want a different family? No, I don't. In order for me to have that family, I needed to be born where I was born, which probably made it more likely I was going to get teased. So would I want that to go away? No, because I just as soon have my family. But let's say my family wasn't a great family, and maybe they are abusive or whatever the case would be. They are still your family, and you have your body, and it is the way it is. Your body is the way it is. But you have it. See, that's the point. You have it. You're here. And what you do with it is up to you. It's not up to your family what you do with your body, how you feel about yourself. It's up to you. So their choices are their choices. Your choices are your choices, which is largely what we're here to learn. The best thing we can do is to learn to love and accept and be joyful that we have a body. If we understand it, that makes it so much more likely that we're not going to get all caught up in the idea that we have to do our hair and our makeup a certain way to be acceptable to others. We have to wear a certain kind of clothing to be acceptable to others. Certain kind of shoes. If we wear old-fashioned shoes, then we're not acceptable. That our homes have to look a certain way. That our environment, all these things, will or will not make us acceptable. No, we're acceptable just by the fact that we're here and that we exist. And how we feel about ourselves is a choice that we're making. I would tell myself, Roseanne, the unease you feel, even though you're strong, you're healthy, you're at your peak right now. Your hair is long and beautiful, and you're happy, and you're really involved. You enjoy your job as a music teacher. You're involved in the community things, the church things. You have some little boys that you've adopted that you adore. You love your husband. You have so many good things going for you. Be happy. Be happy. Appreciate those instead of always looking at where you think you're lacking. Because you're not going to be happier if you get those cute shoes that you can't afford. And it's only looking back from my 68-year-old self. I can see you were doing some really good things for yourself that I wish I had continued. And let me tell you what they are, because I am learning that lesson and trying to get back to that. And maybe somebody else will come along this will be helpful for. Diet's not the key. Activity is the key. Doing things. And you're going to experience a lot of illnesses and chronic illnesses and bad health and lots of surgeries, so many surgeries, I can't even call up the number you're going to go through. But you can still do these things. Be as active as your body will allow you to at the time. Now you're going to get something called fibromyalgia, which is kind of limit how much you can do sometimes. But anything you do, any activity is a good thing. Make your food at home, because when you're cooking at home, you're going to be healthier. And this is one thing that you're doing right now, Roseanne. I'm talking to her, but I'm talking to myself. Cooking food at home instead of buying the prepared cookies and snacks and chips and ice cream. Those are the things that are going to put weight on you. And candy. Candy. If you just cook your food at home, even if you're making cookies and cakes and even homemade ice cream and stuff, if you just cook your food at home and you're as active as your body will allow, you're not going to have trouble with your weight. It's when you do those other things, that's when you start having trouble with your weight. But part of that is just getting older. You're going to have some babies. That's a secret. I'm telling my 30-year-old self. She doesn't know yet. Because at that point, I'd been infertile for 13 years and had adopted 2 boys. Was told I'd never have children. But I had 2 children. Changed my body. I never lost the last 10 pounds. But it was great. I mean, I looked fine. And I felt fine. I was just so grateful that my body could do that miracle and have a baby. And then I had to have hysterectomy and I had to take hormone replacement. That gave me another 10 pounds. Still look okay. I think I look okay right now. According to the weight charts, I could lose 20 pounds. But I feel fine about myself, whether I'm this weight or 2 sizes lower. I feel okay about my weight because I feel okay about myself. Going through all those illnesses and surgeries and everything have given me an appreciation for my body and really how tough it is. It's far tougher than I realized. I have just gained this high level of pain tolerance, which helps me deal with the suffering and not get down and depressed about it like I probably would have. I have a level of gratitude. When I have a good day and I feel good and I can do things, I feel really grateful for that. I feel grateful for any time anyone's kind to me or notices me, where I just kind of took those things for granted before. I'm not judgmental, and I think I was when I was 30. And Roseanne, 30-year-old me, I would recommend you work on that, because it's always not a matter of choice. Things are just going to happen in life. It's just part of life. You're not helping yourself and you're not helping them at all by judging it. I think a lot of this judgment comes from what you went through. You were judged and now you're judging. So stop it. Stop it. But the good news is you're going to get over that, but it'd be better if you got over it sooner. You're going to learn patience, because when you go through months of not feeling well, you can go crazy or you can become patient. And I recommend you become patient. You're going to learn to better choose what's important and what's not. You're going to learn that it's not critical that your house is perfectly clean and that sometimes it gets downright messy and the carpet hasn't been vacuumed for a while. Perfectly fine. When you feel better, you'll do what you can. You're going to be better able to say, based on how today is going, this is more important than that. And sometimes you're going to pick things that you would not have felt were important before. You're going to learn to accept yourself, and you're going to learn to accept others. You're going to gain compassion, which is something 30-year-old me needed. I was too lost in my own pain. But by going through all the things that I've gone through, and I think part of what I've gone through is just natural life. Our bodies are mortal and weak and suspect to illnesses and sometimes genetic weaknesses, whatever it is. We just go through those things. And sometimes I think maybe we're put in a situation where we go through those things because we do need to develop some of these better traits. And I needed to not be so prideful, because I believe when I was 30, I was prideful because things like school and talents were coming so easily to me that I had the wrong opinion that people just needed to make better choices for themselves, and then they could do those things too. And it was only after I raised a bunch of handicapped kids and went through a lot of illnesses that I realized that's not true. I needed a spoonful of humility, and I was given a cup of humility. So would I go back? Would I wish for a different body, a different situation? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And so my advice to my 30-year-old self really comes down to, your life is great. You're great. Just calm yourself down. Get the therapy you need. I say that again. Be kind. Make an effort to get out of this judging scale, because you are always going to end up the loser in your mind, and you don't need it. Just watch your life pass. You're going to get older. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to look in the mirror one day and you're going to go, oh, hi, Grandma, because you're going to see your grandma, and that's okay. It's okay. Life is great. It's really great. Just believe it. If you've made it through this video, I'm really grateful. If you relate to any of this or to me, I love it if you subscribed, because we talk about stuff like this. And I hope I see you again. Bye.